Hello and welcome to the Browns Blitz. Today is Thursday, June 18th. This is episode number 351. I'm your host, Rod Bloom. Joining me tonight is my brother, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how are things going?
We're going good, Rod. It's kind of a dead week for Browns football.
It's kind of quiet, but, we took that week off when things were hopping. So,
Right.
we're gonna keep things rolling here. So we got a couple things to talk about. We won't belabor anything tonight, but yeah, a couple things going on. So yeah. So I guess first of all, Jeff, we got the Blitz beverages, but you're not drinking anything tonight, so or just water. So I'm just going to talk about this beer real quick that I have. Not worried about putting up the banner or anything. This, I guess just in case anybody's heard of this. How do you put this up here? This is a Moody Tongue. I think it's out of Chicago, and it is a juiced lychee IPA, 6%. Chicago, Illinois. It says it's an India Pale Ale with lychee. Can you tell me what lychee is, Jeff? Okay. We'll take a pass on that one then. It tastes pretty good. It got a nice flavor to it. So,
Okay.
kind of a cool label. Yeah,
Good.
nice beer.
That sounds.
If anybody's had it or is familiar with Moody Tongue, let us know.
Yeah.
This is my first. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's it for the beverage segment tonight.
Something different.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't think I think that's still left over from Christmas. I think it got shoved to the back of the fridge a little bit. So,
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought I was looking for a bottle that looked a little bit different, and I came up with one. So
There you go.
So Jeff, I guess the main talk which we have been avoiding for a few weeks now is quarterbacks.
Seems to be all there is right now.
Yeah, so we'll devote some time to quarterbacks. Because
Why not?
we talked about them on almost every show for a while, and then we kind of put a moratorium on that and said, enough is enough.
Right.
But now we're back talking quarterbacks. So where do you want to start first on this? You want to start with the supplemental draft, or do you want to start with the quarterbacks in camp? Pick your poison.
All right. Well, let's get the Sorsby talk out of the way, I guess.
Okay. I love the Sorsby talk because this is so polarizing, man. Everybody is so sure that they're right on this, and I really don't know. I just really don't know, because to me the guy's got a lot of tools and everything, but man, the gambling is a concern, and you sure would have liked to have seen him play another year in college.
Right. Yeah, it would have been ideal.
Yeah, so I can see it both ways, and I'll give more of my opinion afterwards. But I guess first of all, Jeff, are the Browns gonna I guess make a bid is the proper way to phrase that, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. See, this, like you said, this is where you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, because the worst thing that can happen is that you're wrong, right? And
yeah,
if you're wrong about him being bad, or you're wrong about him being good,
yeah,
you're damned either way, right? So I think any GM who needs a quarterback or thinks they might need a quarterback anytime over the next few years that doesn't put a bid in on Sorsby is going to look foolish if he turns out to be a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I think from Andrew Berry's perspective, he almost has to put in some sort of a bid. I don't think you can just not participate in this derby to see who lands this guy.
Yeah.
You know, we're at a spot where our odds of being able to land him are better than most teams. So I guess it's worth a try just to see if you can get him for what you feel is an appropriate value. Because the league is all saying right now that they think it's going to be a second round pick. And so our second round pick is higher than most, right? It was in 25, 26, excuse me.
Yeah.
It was high. So odds are we would have a good chance of getting him in the draft, or at least a decent chance, right? So then it becomes, all right, well, then what happens? If you do get him, is he suspended? For how long? When can he actually start participating? Does it end up just being a 27 draft pick? You know, does it turn out that he doesn't really have an on-ramp in the NFL until a year from now?
Yeah, which is possible. Yeah.
Yeah. But boy, the lure of being able to find your franchise quarterback that way has got to have a lot of GMs licking their chops, right? Because most people feel like he would have, if he had gone back to Texas Tech or wherever and had a breakout season this year, then he certainly could have been one of the top quarterbacks taken in 27. But that's so many unknowns. You know, that you're assuming, right? And so really you're just going based on his tape at Indiana and Cincinnati, and you're trying to project that to the NFL level. And I mean, teams have drafted quarterbacks on less, but how high do you go? How high do you go? How much capital are you willing to invest in that, right? So yeah, it's a conundrum. It's a tough spot to be in as a GM. We'll see where he lands.
Yeah. It's really it's weighing kind of two things. It's it's the allure of a cheaper solution, and passing up this lottery, a lottery ticket, whatever you want to call it, that could pay off big time, because if you could get them for, less than the capital you're going to have to spend in the 27 draft on a quarterback, and he turns out to be the guy, then you've really pulled off something big. It's that versus, try to think about what the worst case scenario is here. And it's kind of, I guess it could be a disruption to the rebuild, or you bring in a guy who's really got problems.
Yeah.
And you try to get him to play, and then there's off field stuff. And then especially if they used a second round pick, then you got less ammo to go, in the next draft or future, whatever, at another quarterback. So it's really hard to weigh those things out, especially with the knowledge that you have about him at this point.
Mm-hmm. See, I see a lot of parallels between Sorsby and Ty Simpson. I think a lot of it is about where does he land? What kind of situation will he find himself in as a rookie in the NFL? If it's a team that can afford to wait a little bit for him and let him sort his things out and can put the right support system around him, I think that bodes a lot better for the young man than being thrust into a situation like in Cleveland, where in 27 he could potentially be expected to be our savior. And I think that could be really tough.
Yeah.
So I think we need, if we get through 26 and we don't feel like we have an answer, I think we need, and I've said this before, I think we need to have a clean path for whoever the quarterback is going to be in 27. Even if it ends up being Shador or, God forbid, Deshaun Watson, that quarterback needs to have a clear path in 27. They're not competing with somebody that we know that they're the quarterback, and that's who we're going to play, right? And I'm not sure that Brendan Sorsby would be ready for that in 27. I think there's more risk there than drafting a quarterback who's just played a full college season and you know exactly what to expect from him.
I think you're probably right about that. I mean, I think the best thing about Sorsby is the fact that you might be able to get him for a second or third round pick and still have the same or similar potential in a guy, even if he's not there yet. I think that's what people see.
I just don't think you can afford to shop the clearance rack at Kohl's for your franchise quarterback.
Well, I think you only do this if if the Browns really like what they've seen. I mean, there is enough tape out there to at least be able to judge him, athletically, and and be able to tell some things about his traits and so forth. I mean, obviously, it's not a ton of starts,
right?
So I'm sure that another season would have been ideal.
I agree.
But
I just think it's a big risk to pin next year's franchise quarterback's hopes on athletic traits alone. I think you have to have more than that in our situation. If we were the Rams and we knew we had Matthew Stafford for another year or two, okay, we could afford, I think, to bring in Brendan Sorsby and take a chance on him with a second round pick. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Okay. But if you commit that to him and he comes in 27 and he's got problems, he's whatever keeps him from being a success, it's just another failure for this organization that I just don't think we can afford.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people stand. And I understand that. I think it really depends on the compensation and what kind of bid you're making, and what you think you can get him for, whether it's worth the risk or not. For me, a second rounder is more than what I would want to see the Browns put on him. And again, when I'm saying this, I don't have the information that the Browns do about Sorsby. I've seen the numbers about the gambling, but I don't have the insider information, about what happened. I haven't talked to people involved, things like that. So I'm relying on the Browns to evaluate all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going based on the raw skills that he has and what kind of a bid would make it worth the risk, to bring him in.
For us, it's going to be a high second rounder. And think about who we've taken in the second round in the last two drafts. I mean, would you trade Carson Schlesinger or Quinshon Judkins for a chance at a franchise quarterback?
Well, if you really like the guy, yes, but
I'd have to really like him. I'd have to really be enthralled with his physical traits because there's too much else I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The Browns would have to see more than just raw athleticism in him to put that kind of a bid in on him.
Yeah.
And I know what people are saying. I know they're saying he's going to go for a second rounder. I'm still not so sure about that. I know people are saying that the Jets have the inside track and they've got plenty of capital to burn, and they're probably going to place a second. That the Browns would have to place a second to get him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'll kind of believe that when I see it. I really think it's going to be like a third rounder is going to get him, just because of all the mess around him. The baggage. I just think so. I don't think teams are going to be willing to gamble that much, and gamble's a poor choice of words. I knew I was going to say gamble sooner or later. Gamble I'm trying to not say gamble or roll the dice or anything like that.
Right.
You know,
right.
to go in on this guy,
Filling inside straight.
Filling inside straight, yeah. They go up against the house, any of that stuff on this.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're talking about guaranteed money, because once you get down into a third round bid, you've only got your signing bonus that's guaranteed at that point too. So,
right.
So that's a whole different ball game. That's why I think teams are going to be more likely to put a third rounder up than a second rounder. Man, the Jets better just be willing to take a huge leap of faith. I avoided gamble there. To throw up that second rounder. I don't think the Browns are going to use a second rounder. I think that second rounder could be too valuable in the 27 draft. And and I like Sorsby's physical traits, but I don't think there's enough there yet to use a second rounder in the 27 draft on him with the added baggage.
Yeah.
But man, if they get him for a third or fourth, I would do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think if he had come out in this year's draft, he probably would have been the third quarterback taken, maybe. Late second, early third.
Yeah.
Just based on what people have seen of him. So yeah, it's possible that with everything that's happened over the last few months, that he has slipped somewhat in everybody's eyes, and it could end up being top of the third round. In which case, the Jets are probably still going to be ahead of us, depending on how the balls fall. But we could potentially luck out and get ahead of them. But I guess we'll just see how it shakes out, right? And you know what? If he ends up with the Jets, great, because that means that's one less team that we have to worry about taking a quarterback in the 27 draft.
If he pans out, or if they feel like they don't need to, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That's a good point.
If you're the Jets, do you take him in the supplemental and then still draft another quarterback in 27?
Well, it's interesting because I was going to ask you that about the Browns. If you if you take Sorsby in the supplemental for a third or fourth round pick, say it worked out that way, that everybody else just happened to be scared of the guy, and the Browns got him for a third or fourth, and he was suspended for all of 26.
Yeah.
Are you still thinking maybe if we can get a guy in 27, maybe we should still go after a guy in 27?
I think if you're taking him in the supplemental draft, you like him enough to think that he can be your quarterback. And I think you're insulating yourself by bringing in a veteran to hold down the fort until he's ready. So, in the Browns case, if let's just say for shits and giggles that Deshaun Watson plays pretty well this year, and maybe he gets hurt late in the season or whatever, but he puts enough out there to make the Browns think that let's give him another 1-year contract with a lot of incentives and bring him back and let him be our veteran, okay, and give Brendan Sorsby some time to be ready to play in 27. Right? That scenario would more or less make sense to me. Okay. A lot of ifs have to happen there. Okay. If it's not Watson, it might be another veteran, but you would have to then be out on Shedeur. You'd have to be saying, okay, we've seen all we can do.
That's if you are convinced by his play that Shedeur is not the guy.
Correct.
Yeah. Because if Shedeur plays well this year, and he does that while Sorsby is not eligible to play, that changes things. Then that's two reasons to not need a quarterback in 27.
Right. Well, and then you have to start making decisions about who do you keep and who do you move and all that kind of thing, right? But I think at that point, I would not want to have both young guys going into 27. I would have one of them going into 27 and a veteran.
I think that would depend how well Shedeur played this year for me. He would have to really play well for me to feel comfortable keeping him as my quote unquote vet going into his third season.
Yeah.
But yeah, you make a great point. That you're definitely going to want some kind of vet on your team if you got two young guys in almost all cases.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, let's go to some comments, Jeff. These guys made comments quite a while back. So as soon as we brought up Brendan Sorsby. So Raul, thanks for joining us tonight. If you have quarterbacks, don't have any. And there's not going to be four. Yeah, it's true, but there's not going to be four quarterbacks on the team. Jeremy doesn't like it. And listen, guys, I understand. Anybody who's against bidding on Sorsby, I understand where you are. I don't have a problem with it because I see this young team. I see where it's headed, and I understand the desire to not bring somebody in who could be a disruption. I understand that. I understand that side of it.
Yep, 100%.
Todd Philcox, I am not sure. Jeff, where's Todd Philcox playing right now?
He's probably coaching his grandkids somewhere.
Probably so. Barry sweating more than Ray Farmer over this decision. Raul, he might be.
Raul's on a roll tonight.
He is, man. He brings the good stuff, I got to tell you. Yeah, you kind of wonder because I would think they either, Jeff, wouldn't you think they either like Sorsby or they don't?
Well, as a GM, yeah, you're either willing to try this or you're not. But the wild card in our organization is our owner, and how aggressive is he going to want to be to try to solve the quarterback problem? If to Raul's point, Ray Farmer found himself in that position.
Let's add this. Jimmy's driving around looking for homeless guy. And you're probably right. That's probably a collaborative effort on this one. But yeah. So I'm thinking if you've done your evaluation on Sorsby, evaluated all the information, whether it's the on the field or the off the field stuff or all of it put together, you should be at a point where you're saying, yes, we're making a bid, or no, we're not making a bid. And what the bid's going to be shouldn't be that hard to decide, I wouldn't think, once you've made those first two decisions.
Correct. Yeah, I would say you come up with a level of comfort and you decide, okay, we are in at this level and we're not going beyond that. And that's just kind of how the supplemental draft works,
You put your bid in, and it has to be something you're comfortable with. And if you get outbid, you get outbid. It's going to be because you feel that somebody else bid too high, or it just isn't what you were willing to put out.
This is not Bernie Kosar where you're sitting there with the number one overall pick and you're willing to spend a first rounder on him. This is taking a shot later in the draft where you're willing to give up one of those assets that you have in the 27 draft for another lottery ticket at a potential franchise quarterback. You're on the right track, Rod. I think I agree. If it's a third or fourth rounder, fine. Those picks are less than 50% hit rate anyway, so that's probably worth doing. I think knowing it's the quarterback position,
it's probably not going to be enough. And I can understand that. I mean, the Jets have been looking for somebody for, gosh, as long as the Browns have, almost. Somebody probably is going to put a second round bid out there. And I will agree with anybody and everybody who said it that yeah, I would rather that be a different team than the Browns. Jeremy likes Mason Graham. Does not like the quarterback. Okay. Leaster. Yeah.
I'm not sure what Art's doing these days either.
Yeah. Sorry, Jeremy. I'm late on that one. That's from a little bit ago. You guys are doing a great job on the comments. I'm just not fast enough with them. James, no, he'll get in trouble.
You don't want him going to the Jets because he'll
horses in Jersey. Well, yeah. You think there's more gambling with the Jets than
you know what we've all got it
anywhere, right?
We've all got it in our pocket. I mean, it's these apps they make it so easy.
It's true. Yeah. It's not hard. Raul is not a Shedeur Sanders fan, apparently.
But which number? I mean, 12 or 2? Which one were we going to retire?
I would say I would think 2 at this point, right? James, if Shedeur balls, that's a waste of a pick. I'd steer clear of Sorsby. There's no luck with gambling on quarterbacks. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think you got to keep shooting your shot, whether it's Sorsby or in the draft or wherever it is, until you know you have your guy. So I am all for playing Shedeur this year. Been saying that the whole time. So, I really don't want any part of Watson playing this season. He probably will, just because that's how it's going to go. But yeah, I think the only thing that makes sense is to play Shedeur, to see what he's got, and then if he works out great, and if not, then you're trying to find your guy in whatever way that happens. But
well, to James's point too, I mean, if you listen to Todd Monken, he is basically saying that he feels like he has 2 guys that he can win with already. So Todd Monken really isn't enthusiastic about putting another quarterback into the mix at this point. I think he's already got enough that he has to figure out.
Do you think he's just supporting his guys, or do you really think these guys are showing progress out there, Jeff?
There's probably some progress. I mean, versus what? Both of these guys don't have a lot of great tape to build on at this point, so they almost have to be better. Watson is supposedly healthy and moving around well, and Shedeur is supposedly picking up on things, processing more quickly. You would expect that from both of them. If Watson's healthy finally after so many years, you would expect a veteran quarterback like him to look good in camp, particularly before pads even go on.
Yeah, you would think so.
And Shedeur in season 2, you would expect that he'd be processing faster and all those kinds of things, right? But the fact that there's not been a starting quarterback named yet, I don't think it's because they're both too good to decide between. I think it's because they both suck.
Yeah.
I mean, the Todd's, he's not comfortable saying, okay, this guy's good enough to start game 1. Right. I don't feel like that yet. So maybe getting through training camp, one of those guys will get to the point where he says, you know what, I feel really good about this guy starting week 1. Or he could get to the point in training camp where he says, you know what, none of these guys look good, but I got to pick a starter. And that's kind of where Kevin Stefanski's been for the last several years.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? I mean, to me, if the tie, I mean, I guess you can see it both ways. Ty should go to the veteran. Ty should go to the guy who you want to see more of. If neither guy shows a whole lot, don't you want to play the young guy, or do you go with the vet because of his experience and you think he's going to win games for you? I guess I can see it either way.
Well, in Cleveland, where we're always looking for young players, whether it's our baseball team or football team or whatever, we're always looking for young players. That makes sense because we're really not expecting to win. If I'm a newly anointed 60-year-old head coach and there's some pressure on me to win, and I've already got the youngest roster in the NFL, I may be looking a little bit more closely at the veteran because I feel like I can get some wins with him early. Okay, and I'm not here to develop guys. I'm here to win football games, right? So it depends on what you think 26 is about, Rod. I mean, as fans, I think our perception of things may differ a little bit from the expectations of ownership in the front office.
Yeah, I think this team, just from the way the players are talking and everything, I think they believe that they can win some games. I would be shocked if they have Super Bowl aspirations amongst themselves, but I think they believe they can go out there and play good football and win games.
Yeah, I don't think they're delusional, but
no, I don't think they're insane, but yeah.
Yeah, they're probably feeling like they've got a good young core. They're motivated, and they feel like they can probably sneak up on some teams, which is a good thing. You've got a fairly weak schedule.
Right.
The opportunity is there to win some games this year, and to learn along the way how to do that. The question is going to come down to who's going to lead you in those games, and for the average Cleveland fan, we're rooting for the dark horse to come out of nowhere and be the savior. And unfortunately, that doesn't work that way very often.
Yeah, it's so hard in this quarterback room. I understand the Shador fans. He didn't show a ton last year. He showed more than anybody else. He showed enough for me to want to see him this year, but it's certainly not enough to believe that he's the guy going forward, for the next 5 years. We need to see a lot more to believe that. And for people to just, there are people, his fans, that want to anoint him as, he's a starter, they don't need another quarterback. Well, it's too early for that. And then there's the same kind of mix on Deshaun Watson that we're hearing from the press and from Todd Monken that, he looks good, he's healthy, he's moving around. And we've seen this guy for 6 years. When he gets on the field, he sucks almost every single time. Why should we believe at a year older that he's going to do anything different now? Mm-hmm. So the fans are kind of all over the place on this, but I think the reality is that I don't know how you expect a ton out of the quarterback position, especially early in the season. In my mind, the best scenario is for Shador to start and for him to progress, through the first few weeks and to where he's playing better, than he was last season. But that's going to take time too.
That's certainly the best case scenario for our organization. I mean, if you want to advance our growth curve, if you want to move our win window forward, the way to do that is for Shador to exceed our expectations and turn into something that we can really get behind.
Right.
That solves a lot of problems for us. And it makes it that much easier to go into the 27 draft and team building for the next several seasons if you've already got that question answered, for sure. So look, I'd love to see that happen. I think, putting him behind a restructured offensive line that, again, we hope will play better. We don't know that they'll play better, but we hope that they will. we've thrown some young receivers into the mix now with some talent. We don't know how good they'll be. We think they'll be better. There's just still so many question marks. You can't just automatically assume that Shedeur behind an improved offensive line with improved receivers is going to be better. He may get there in a few weeks, but I'm not sure that, it's not guaranteed he'll ever get there. Okay. But it certainly isn't going to happen right away.
Right. And we've talked about the offensive line. They are probably not going to play as a unit right away week one. It's going to take them some time. It's going to take them some time. And that's going to reflect negatively on the quarterback. So whether it's Shedeur or Four out there, it's probably not going to look pretty on offense the first week, or certainly not as good as it'll look week 3, 4, or 5, where, however long it takes for that offensive line to gel. We just want the offensive line to gel, and play better than it did last year.
Look, the offensive line is younger, for sure. It's a lot younger. We have 3 decent veterans that should be able to sort of hold it together. But let's be honest, we threw this offensive line together on the fly this offseason. Okay, those guys that we brought in were available for a reason. Okay. It's really hard to go out and get offensive line. Teams just don't give up offensive linemen, right? So when you think about Titus Howard, Elton Jenkins, Zion Williams, there's a reason that their teams were willing to move on from them, right? And you hope that you're going to get the best version of those players, but there's also the chance that you won't get the best version of all of them. Elton Jenkins has an injury history. So the idea that there's lots of versatility on the offensive line, we've got some young players we can plug in as well. There's a whole bunch of combinations of players that we're probably going to see this year. But again, all of that hurts the idea of a line gelling and playing together well. So, perfect world. Week one, we know exactly who our best 5 are, and they play really well together, and they stay healthy. Okay, but when's the last time we've seen that?
It's been a while.
Right. Realistically, the offensive line is probably a 2 or 3 year rebuild as well, at least.
Probably so, but hopefully, especially with what they've done and the money they've put into it, hopefully we see some nice, consistent play at higher level, at least by week, 3 or 4. That helps the offense look a little bit better and gives the quarterback a chance.
We're going to be better at tackle. I'm confident we're going to be better at tackle. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So that will probably give our quarterbacks at least a little bit of security. But you've heard people like Emory Hunt say, any quarterback worth his salt should be able to move around with his tackles, right? What makes a line is the interior 3. And we need luck there. Those guys are younger, but we're not going to be better at left guard than we were last year.
No, we're not. And they're talking about possibly starting. I'm forgetting his name. The center from Alabama. That the
Parker
Browns.
Brailsford.
Brailsford. If he wins the job, great. I think it's great that they're talking about competition on the offensive line and not just handing these guys jobs.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But it's gonna take some time. So let's get back to a few comments here, Jeff. we're still going back to quarterback here. PJ Walker got a raw deal, but he won that 49ers game, and we were at that game, and yeah, we can talk about that.
I think it was a concussion actually that took him out, wasn't it?
Was he? Did he? He didn't play that whole game, did he?
If I remember correctly, I mean he went out with a concussion, and that's kind
of
in the
49ers game
was the end of his run here. So I don't know. It's just bad luck, I think.
Did he play that whole 49ers game?
That I don't remember. I don't think so, but I don't remember if it was that game or a game later that he got the concussion in. But I think that's probably why he lost the job.
He had some nice defensive play behind him too. No offense to PJ Walker, but he was a recipient of some dominant defensive performances, I believe, and he did his job. So yeah. Monken, he doesn't like the Sorsby thing, but he might just be standing up for his guys too. And I don't know if he has as much of a say in this as Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam do.
One thing I can tell you about Todd Monken is if the Browns somehow come out of the supplemental draft with Brendan Sorsby, Todd Monken will be his biggest fan.
True. That's right. Yeah.
Todd Monken is a survivor.
He is. Yeah. And yeah. I want to go just on a little bit of a tangent here because I've been keeping this under my cap for a while, Jeff. But I'm starting a new job next week, and I don't want to talk about that. But I'm the same age as Todd Monken, and somebody's given me a chance to do something a little bit different now, and so I am the biggest fan of Todd Monken, rooting for this guy to do well. And 60 years old is not too old to start something new. I'm saying that at my age. So I'm rooting for him to prove everybody wrong and to hang around here and to be a coach for several years. And these were my thoughts when he got hired. I'm like, why does everybody think this guy's old? He's not old. Anyways, that's all I had to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to be accused of ageism because I'm older than you, but it's about energy. And,
it is.
And Todd Monken seems to have plenty of energy. So
that's right. You're about as old as you think you are.
Right. Yeah. Some days I think I'm really old.
Yeah, getting out of bed in the morning is a different story because you feel all different ages. We're going all the way back to Joe Flacco, James. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Kevin. I don't know. Kevin in the offensive line. That's a whole nother story, man. That's really, I probably agree with you on that. Team's energy is so different from past teams. They'll do better than we've seen these past few years. Be excited. I am excited. I'm excited just by the talent of the young players. I like the roster, and the funny thing is that regardless of what you think of Joel Bitonio, whether he's going to make the Hall of Fame or not, this is a team that just lost two guys that could potentially be Hall of Famers, and they're looking at hopefully winning more games than they did last year. I don't think it's a stretch with the talent they've added. It's going to come down like always, to the play of the quarterback and that. But I think this team really believes there's a sense of community with this team that has not been there most of the time over the past 10, 20 years. It's kind of really become a rare thing to feel that this team has been a team. There's always been team guys, but this team feels more like a team just from what you're seeing. And that's before we're even really seeing them on the field. You're seeing clips here and there, but I think this will show up hopefully when we get to preseason and see stuff like that.
Yeah, you know what, Rod? I don't think James is telling you to be excited. Look, this is a time of year where everybody's optimistic. We've got no reason not to be optimistic right now, right? So I'm optimistic about all kinds of stuff. I'm even somewhat talked into the fact that Deshaun Watson might be able to play decent football this year. That tells you how optimistic I am right now. Okay.
Well, we might call that. You might be bordering on delusional, Jeff, but you never know.
So.
You never know. So. We won't know until he plays.
Right, but the excited part comes when they actually win football games. You could be excited now. You can be enthusiastic about the team and so forth. But for me, what will excite me is winning football games, and we have a long way to go before we get there. So yeah, I think they can, but I'm not delusional enough to think that just because they made a bunch of changes in the offseason that we're suddenly going to be a different football team. I've seen enough changes made in the past that didn't make a damn bit of difference. So let's see these work. Let's see these actually work and turn into wins, and then I'll be excited as hell.
You're right. Super Browns.
Bernie.
Yeah. Bro, what would Mary Kay do?
Mary Kay would bootlick both quarterbacks.
Dwan Jones has his playing weight down to 800. I think Dwan Jones actually looks pretty good. I mean, I hope the guy can stay healthy because I think he's lost weight and looks pretty decent, and he's done a pretty good job when he's been out there, especially at right tackle. So
Dwan has to make this roster.
You're right. That's not a given.
He's agreed to a little over $1 million in guaranteed money versus the 3 something for his PPE. So that could be a nice parting gift if he doesn't get his weight down and doesn't stay in shape and doesn't work hard and all those things, right? But if he does all that stuff, he should have the inside track to be one of those backup tackles. And with the versatility that exists on this line, there's a lot of places that he could end up playing. If everything goes right for him, this could be an important, really make or break season for him, I think, in his professional football career.
You're right. If he could, first of all, make the team. Second of all, stay healthy, and then play enough, either to show the Browns or to show other teams. This is a contract season for him, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's definitely time for him to, hopefully things will kind of connect for Dwan. I think he's a very likable guy.
Absolutely.
Seems like a really good kid, and it's funny to call him a kid when he's but they're all kids. But yeah, he's the kind of player you root for. The injuries have been really unfortunate, and hopefully things work out. He's the kind of guy I'd like to see on the team. So for Greg Robinson, man,
Greg Robinson is flying free bird right now.
He is, and Raul keeps bringing it. Let's see. Do y'all see Nick Chubb was in Cleveland with Bernie doing something at the hospital? It'd be cool to bring him back as a veteran and leader of the offense. He's a Brown always. Did you see that? I did not see Nick with Bernie.
No, I didn't see that he was in town. But James, I do appreciate you bringing up Nick Chubb because it's been a few weeks since we talked about him.
Yeah, we're kind of breaking our rule.
I know. I really hope Nick can play a few more years, and I hope he ends up in the right situation where he really gets a chance to touch the ball. I don't think he got much of an opportunity in Houston last year.
He didn't.
No. He had a couple good backs ahead of him. Here, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what the Browns opt to do with depth at the running back position. We're just kind of assuming right now that Rocket Sanders is going to be the third guy. I mean, I like him a lot, but that position is one that it's pretty straightforward to go out and find running backs around the NFL. It's not hard. My heart tells me, yeah, I'd love to have Nick Chubb back on the team, but my head is saying, I think that maybe he's moved on, and we probably have too, and
maybe not the best.
We need to be playing young guys now.
Yeah. With Rocket Sanders, Jeff, do you think that if the Browns carry a fullback, do you think that makes it less likely that Rocket Sanders, and they're probably pretty likely to carry a fullback, do you think that makes it less likely that Rocket Sanders makes the team and more likely that, another, smaller back, quicker back makes the team?
Yeah, I guess it just depends on how those guys are going to be utilized in special teams and so forth.
Yeah.
Sanders really doesn't bring a lot in that department. We don't really know how Todd Monken wants to structure the offense yet.
Right.
So yeah, if it's two tight ends and a fullback, or if it's three tight ends, or if it's four tight ends, or what it's going to be. And I think for me, the main thing is that you want to have guys who bring different skill sets. And Rocket Sanders brings more of a Nick Chubb-esque running style, where it's between the tackles, it's one cut and go, and it's finished with your head down and knocking somebody over. I think we've got a couple of other guys who can make people miss. That's really not Rocket's forte.
Yeah.
But, let's see how that shakes out.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's a different kind of back from the other guys. And, I thought I liked what he did last season. I see what you see in him. And, I'm good with them bringing back the same three backs. But it's going to be a competition, and you just don't know what Todd Monken wants out of his back. So we'll see. Yeah, I like the idea of there being competition, at all positions. Sure. Even though whatever 45 guys have already made the team or whatever the number.
Right. I mean that's how you get better. Those you churn those last 8 or 10 guys on the 53 man to continuously get better.
Yeah.
TJ Watt's
daddy.
I'm in favor of anybody who's TJ Watt's daddy.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah. Let's see. Jeremy Delpit wants a contract, maybe trade rumors. Draft regrets. I think we're good with the draft.
You know what? I was at the store looking at Dallas Cowboys hats. Jeremy, you need to shoot me your size for a fitted one. Caleb Downs is not coming here, Jeremy.
Yeah, he's going to be a Cowboy.
He's going to be a Cowboy for life.
For 12 years or whatever. And
for life,
retire. Yeah, going to the Hall of Fame probably.
Look, I think there's probably a good chance that Grant Delpit gets an extension in camp.
You think so?
Or sometime this season. Yeah. I don't think they're going to let him walk away. I know we drafted a safety, but I just think he's a good enough player and a team leader now, and particularly the impact that he has on special teams as a leader there too. I think he's a guy that you want to view as a cornerstone for our defense. I know he's getting to the wrong side of 30, but I would look
that is hard to believe.
In NFL terms, that's ancient, right? But
wow.
Yeah, time goes by, right? So I think he's 28 or 29 right now. So this extension puts him into his 30s, which, if you're Myles Garrett, that's no big deal, right? Safeties don't have that kind of longevity typically.
Yeah, DBs, not typically.
So I think it's worth it if they can come to an agreement that is right for both parties and feels fair, because to go out and try to replace him, it's going to take some capital, and it's just one less thing that we need to have to worry about over the next couple seasons. So wouldn't surprise me if he's back, if he's extended.
It's not like you're paying a lot of other guys right now,
right?
So
it doesn't have to be.
You can do something.
It doesn't have to be a long extension. Yeah, I mean,
that's true.
Yeah, 2 years with a third year option. In the $10 to $12 million range. I'm in on that. I think if we can keep him around to get us to that next group that's going to get us into the dome, it makes sense.
Yeah. James, just keep saying it. Maybe they'll listen eventually. Hopefully, I think James, you got to keep some vets around. You got to
James,
keep.
I stumped for a tight end for probably 5 or 6 years, and then they finally listened to me with Harold Fannin, and this year they drafted 2 of them. So don't give up. There's a chance they'll listen to you eventually.
That somebody listens to this podcast. Apparently, they just listen to it on like a 3-year delay. So,
right.
yeah, that's how it is. So Jeff, did you see that JTS retired at age of 27? Former Brown.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising. I guess his experience here probably soured him on ever playing football again, huh?
That's very possible. Yeah. All I can say is good. Good for anybody who makes that decision. It's for the right reason. I assume he either doesn't want to play football, or he's doing it for his health, or he's got another opportunity.
Right.
Any of those are great reasons. I'm happy anytime a guy can hopefully walk away from the game and still be in good shape. I think we've seen enough of guys who played, a long time ago that just really having a tough time now. And you really hope that the improvements with the equipment and some of the rule changes and that kind of change some of that stuff. But, I don't know. These guys, they make a boatload of money, but I don't know if any of us realize what they put their bodies through out there. If you haven't done it, even if you played at high school or college, I'm sure it's not even anywhere close to what, to the beating you take when you're in the pros.
Yeah.
So good for him. Yeah. So, I think we've covered it, Jeff. We're going to talk a little bit about the competition, but I think we've kind of covered that. Mm-hmm. So anything I missed this week? Not much else.
Not that I can think of. Yeah, it's kind of a slow week. Just a lot of speculation right now.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, Jeremy, Raul, James, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining.
Good stuff
the party
tonight again, guys.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Love mixing it up with you guys, and glad you could join us tonight. So, any parting words tonight, Jeff?
Can't think of anything right now, Rod. Just got to see how things play out. Get through these next few weeks, and be fun watching all these players that they're bringing in compete in camp.
Yeah, we got what? When's camp start? July what? It's like July 20 something.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Something like that. So we got like a month till camp, somewhere in that area. So
yeah.
So we'll if assuming there's no news, we'll find something fun to talk about next week. I'll dig.
Yeah, maybe we'll resurrect the brain boost or something like that to give us something fun to do for the next few weeks.
Yeah, we'll do something fun. So you guys don't want to miss next week. So
yep,
we'll need some participation. But sorry. Okay, James, we got you. All right. All right, guys. This has been the Browns Blitz. We thank y'all for listening, and we will catch you next time.